Hi everyone, it's Sister Jenna from America Meditating Radio. I hope you've been enjoying Wiseish, which you can get live on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45. But you can also get it on demand 24/7. It's going to be your power boost for the morning. It's your daily dose for the soul. It's just going to encourage you to make the day that much more valuable. So join us. Looking forward to seeing you.
We find our nation on a precipice, true tipping point. Is this the moment that will finally change our country? Trying to rain on the thunder. Tell the storm I'm new. I'ma rain on this bitter love. Tell the sweet I'm new.
It's not a broken system. It was built to function exactly as it is.
We must respond with bold action.
This is our country too. We can build new systems that do what they should.
I'm a walk, I'm a march on the regular.
We are united. We are standing.
Follow away.
And we are going to fight this fight.
Freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. I break chains up on myself.
There is something happening across this country.
When we work and when we fight and when we march and when we speak up and when we offer solutions, we win.
I'ma keep running cause a winner don't quit on themselves.
It's always the right time to celebrate women and black women in particular.
It is an opportunity to show the nation and the world that we will act. It has been an inspiration.
You have the choice, and it is that choice that gives you power.
Vote. Vote like your life depends on it because it does.
That is what we need next. Action.
Hi everyone, I'm Sister Jenna. Welcome to our special Zoom meditation segments. Look, it's no joke. Things are kind of weird. It's just weird. Pandemics, protests, job insecurity, global pause. Everyone's numb, but also everyone's searching. And they might be searching on this little gadget of Zoom in a little box. People from all over the world who don't know each other are coming together in Zoom rooms to figure out who they are, why they're here, and how to meditate. Meditation is something that we've often thought that if we make our minds empty, we've meditated. I don't believe that. I think it's important that we learn how to channel our thoughts in a right way that are connected to our vision, our goal, our spiritual attainments, our mental capacity. Then you're really meditating. Shanti, everyone. Welcome to Spiritual Vaccine Hour. I love those birds, the peacock. That was when I was staying at our wonderful friend's villa on Fisher Island. And those peacocks are all over the island. And when we were driving around in the golf cart, we would just pause and just videotape them and just see how peaceful and happy they were and how they were reminding us and how to be, in the midst of all the stuff that unfolds. Anyway, thanks for everyone's participation in yesterday's rebroadcast. We actually, for the first time, we had lost the electricity in Virginia yesterday at about 5:20 or about that time. And Santosh and I said, well, did we just not show up at all? And I was like, no, I want to see my family and connect. And somehow, some way, we had an emergency battery pack that he was able to plug in and get the Wi-Fi and rebroadcast one of our programs and add some things to it. But we weren't sure if it would stay like that if we went live together. So we just managed the difficulty. You see how accurate today's topic is going to be? Is that we were able to manage the difficulty of the situation. Nothing was there. It looked like what the scene said is nothing is activated. There is no power. Turn everything off. Go to bed early. Forget it. That's like when we allow the external situations to be more powerful than we are, and we fall into it. Like we are still, we become like a slave to the 5 elements. And if they are out of order, they're telling me and you, the most powerful entities of the planet, which is the human soul, the external world and the external entities and the elements, the world of matter, the physical world, physical situations, turn to you, the powerhouse, to say, I'm turning you off, you're done. And you're like, wow, how do I relate to that? Do I let it? Do I, the soul, say I'm done? Or I don't feel done, but the element says you're done? There's a lot of mysteries here. And I feel like whenever we're encountering something difficult or challenging, we're being asked for two choices. Take the high road, which is accumulate, activate, dig deeper to go higher, or take the low road, give up, forget it. Why do you even try so hard? What does it matter? It's all coming to a close anyway. And you can go through such a pathway of thinking that it supports that thought, and you will even start to attract confirmation, because the thought, it being fed with such feelings, can actually manifest the reality in front of you to confirm. Forget it. Take the low road. Why bother? Why bother keep trying? It doesn't make any sense. And then and in one way it can be a good thing too, because it could also help you to see certain things. Maybe you are on the wrong path. Maybe you do think of yourself in a way that you shouldn't be. Maybe the life is trying to tell you, you're average, you're mediocre, you're nothing much. And maybe that's where you should go. I don't know. I'm just saying that difficulties will always give you 2 choices. Take the high road, which means I have to keep putting more energy in, more energy in, more energy in. Or take the low road, which says, I don't have to do much. I can do as little as I want, and even less than little, because there's not much expected of me. Why bother? Food for thought in today's conversation. How do we deal with difficult times, or how do we deal with challenging situations and moments? Well, today is going to offer you some insights in that, I believe. And just to give you all some nice news, I told you we finished with the meditation room, which we call the Baba's room, which we have one in every one of our Brahma Kumari centers. Our Baba's room had a roof leak, and we had attempted to fix the roof about 7 times, and each time the roof was repaired, it leaked again. So we had decided just move out of that meditation room, and we were going to make the small living room the meditation space with Baba. And so for years, it stayed like that for about 2 years. Doesn't matter how much we tried. Stayed like that for a long time. So it started to become almost like a little storage room. But I was so determined, everyone, that a part of me just wanted that room repaired. There's something in you that I ask to keep feeding. And it's a part of you that you could sense is broken, like something's not right. It's not your strength, but put some energy in it at least. You never know when it will kick into gear and just become the manifestation, because it just took that one extra thought to have galvanized the amount of power that was needed to bring it to fruition. We think things that we believe or visualize will be good. We don't really want to think things that are negative or dark, at least not for ourselves. And even when we are having negative or waste thoughts about ourselves, whether it's to inflict pain, whether it's to think that we're not good enough, whether it's to feel we don't deserve certain things in life, even that is not really who we are. And that is just somewhere inside of our heads that we're stuck in something that has happened from the past. And as much as we might try to get out of it, we just go right back in it, because that particular thought vibration is asking us to put more energy in. And it's the same for everything. With job insecurity, financial insecurity, health issues, relationship issues, we're now at homes with people, could be 5, 10 people, I don't know, or it could be by yourself. And every day it's the same people sharing the same vibration with each other. And sometimes you can feel like almost suffocated, because especially if one is not on the same level as the other, just imagine what couples are going through right now who before the pandemic had issues. Just imagine what parents are going through with their teenagers in puberty. It's a lot. And nobody can go anywhere except maybe outside the backyard. And that's still not far enough. You know, so I came across a really nice video with Brandon, and I think that it will help to give some insight for tonight's sharing as we get through this process of dealing with things that we might deem difficult because we're still not willing to let go of it. Anyway, enjoy, Brandon.
I was asked, Brendan, how do you deal with difficult times? You know, times of life when it's just challenging, maybe you're frustrated at work, or it's difficult in a relationship you have, or you get sick, or you get hurt, or somebody you know you care for is sick or hurt, or they die. And you find yourself at a period of life when it's just difficult. The days have felt a little dark, a little heavy, a little frustrating. You have a sense that things aren't going well. What do you do during that time? And you know, that is not an easy question, and I respect the person who wrote that into us, because I don't know where you're at, but I've certainly been there in my life. You know, I've lost loved ones. I've been through dramatic car accidents in my own life. I've had a brain injury. I've had great friends who've been majorly sick or ill or debilitated in some way or another. And I get it, it's tough. And I deal with literally millions of people every single week. And I can tell you, in all the comments I hear, a lot of people are struggling. And it's a reality, it's difficult. So I'm not here to gloss this over or hype you up. I just like to give some things that I do when I get in that situation. And I hope it serves you or serves your family member, your friend, your loved one, whoever you share this message with after you watch it. I think the first thing that we can do, and it sounds so simple and so tactical, it's almost, it seems like a throwaway, but it's this. When times are difficult, try to find every single day 3 things that you can do. I mean, just set 3 goals for the day. I know that sounds so simple, but as a blanket strategy, it works. You know, if you're down and out and you're depressed, I mean, just having 3 things to do during the day, giving yourself 3 simple things to move yourself through will help you. It will feel like it will bring a little progress or a little accomplishment or a little connection with yourself into the day. It could be as simple as like if you're really down out, if you're really struggling with difficult times, sometimes that goal can be get up, take a shower, you know? It can be, hey, today I'm gonna walk down to the coffee shop with a good positive book and I'm just gonna sit down and just read for an hour drinking a coffee. You know, it could be as simple as call somebody, call a friend or a family member. It can be so simple, but having 3 of them helps you progress throughout the day. It doesn't have to be complex, but it keeps you moving through the difficult times, remembering the old adage that this too shall pass. But if you're just sitting around waiting in your own darkness, in your own just sadness or depression or frustration, waiting for it to pass and not having any, what we call in psychology, personal agency in your life, you're not taking any action to move that ball forward, then it can get really frustrated. So just set 3 small goals for yourself during the dark times every day. Just knock them off, just 3 little goals. No matter what they are, just move towards them, get those done, and you'll start to feel a little bit better over a period of time. I would say the next thing to do is just keep perspective. And that's the hardest thing to tell somebody when they're going through a hard time because, you know, it's so easy to say, well, you don't understand me, or this is so hard, or this is the worst time in my life. And some of that might feel true. And it might be true. It might be one of the most difficult, trying times of your life. And all we can say is keep perspective. We can't say keep perspective other than just say, you know, there have been good times. Remember them. Don't cut loose of those good times in your memories just because now your focus is on the dark times. Remember those times that were better. Remember those times in which you did connect with others, that you did create, that you did take action. And remember also your strength, because it's so easy when the times are dark to just focus on all the things that you're doing to screw it up, or all the things that people are doing to mess with your life, and you forget the incredible power that you have. I mean, it is an amazing miracle. If you're looking for the miracle, you already got it. That miracle that you've been given the power of choice and will to direct your own attention each day, to direct your own attitude each day, to direct your own actions each day, to direct your own affections and emotions out into the world, that you control those things, that you can move those things, that you can shape those things. That's the miracle. You are the miracle. You've been waiting for something to show up and change, and I just say, you've already been given the gift. Now you have to activate it. So when it's difficult, keep perspective on the fact that there have been good times. There will be more good times. That even if you are struggling personally, you still have that great freedom that has been given to us, and that choice, that gift of free will to start directing yourself. So start remembering your strengths and start directing yourself again. Because look, in the dark times, it's the easiest time to curl up in the ball. And sometimes that's okay. Hey, if you need to have a bad day and sit on the couch and watch a bunch of movies with some tissues and just go through a bad day and a few bags of potato chips, you know, a lot of people have to deal with that situation. It's okay. But if that happens day after day after day after day after day, that's the time to take control of your life back or ask for some help. You know, part of perspective isn't just understanding our life has been better, understanding that we have strengths and choice and will. It's understanding that we aren't the only thing. That perspective reminds us there's other people out in the world who we might be able to connect with who could help us, to raise our hand and connect with a friend, or to take somebody out for lunch, or to call a therapist, or to get some support from other people, other family, other friends. It's important. That's part of perspective as well. I would say, you know, what else comes to mind when there's a difficult time is to ask, what should I be learning here? Because sometimes when it's really difficult in life, we don't feel competent. We don't feel capable. We feel like, you know, we don't have any personal power. We don't have any knowledge of how to proceed through there. So I tell people, when you're in a difficult time, create like a learning map. You know, right? Like, okay, based on everything that's going on right now, what are 3 things I need to start learning right now? You know, what can I learn from this situation? That's always powerful, right? That's one powerful way to learn. Well, what can I learn from you? What's the universe sending a message to me right now? What can I learn from this situation, from my behavior or my beliefs, from my interactions with other people? But also going to that next level and saying, okay, at this point, what should I start learning in my life? And I know it sounds so weird, you know, I'm not saying, hey, you know, you're really depressed, it's time to start learning French. But you know what? It might help you, because in the process of learning something, our brain starts activating in different ways that also end up activating other parts of our brain's capabilities to grow, to cope, to deal. A great time to start learning again is the times when you feel just beaten up and kicked by the side of the road. It's time to stand up and say, okay, what would I need to learn now to advance my life to the next stage? Because look, no matter where you're at, if you're in a difficult place in life right now, realize you've been in the last stage, and now there's gonna be a new stage. So what would you have to learn or master in this new stage to feel better about yourself or about life, or get ahead a little bit more? Don't forget that. What else comes to my mind? Just the desire to have intention, to be your best self despite the difficulties. I know it's hard. I know it gets difficult. And I can share personally, there's been times in my life it was so extraordinarily difficult. If you ever read my book, The Charge, you read about my brain injury. There was a time in my life it was really difficult. I couldn't control my emotions. I couldn't control my reactions to other people. I was damaged enough from a concussive syndrome that I got after an accident. I was kind of out of control. And it was so difficult that all I could do is just set the intention every single day, and every single time I saw somebody's eyes. I was in a relationship, I could see somebody, if someone walked in, I connected with them. I triggered this thought in my mind. I said, just whatever you do, interact with this situation as your highest self. How would my best self interact with this situation? I mean, if you're thinking about it, it's like your family's going through turmoil, there's challenge in your life. Show up and be the person that says, how could I deal with this as my best self? How would my best self view this and work through this and support the people around me? How could, even though I'm going through difficulty, but other people are too, how could I be a role model? How could I challenge myself in that way, to take personal power and responsibility back onto our shoulders? Because sometimes in difficult times, that's when we start wearing our victim hat and we just curl up on the ball and we forget our extraordinary power to say, I can do something about this. I might not know what, but I'm just gonna, whatever does keep coming my way right now, because it feels like I'm in a fight, I'm gonna react in a positive way. I'm gonna react from my highest self. And then I think the last thing, this is the most important, and you probably thought of this right when I mentioned the topic of the video, and that's this. When times are difficult, do not forget gratitude. That part of keeping perspective, part of living from our highest self, part of the greatest lessons of life, part of the greatest goals that we could ever set in our life are to become more grateful people, to become more appreciative of what we do have, to become more aware of the blessings that are all around from God, from the universe, from the cosmos, by luck, whatever you attribute blessing to. It's that time to say, gosh, what could I be grateful for? What is going on in my life right now that I could pay attention to? Or what has happened? Or what is opening for me that I could give some awareness and attention to that would make me understand that I am lucky, even amidst all of this. I do have some things going for me. I have had some breaks. I have had some opportunities, and I will have those again. To be grateful for your health, to be grateful for what physical powers you do have, for what visual powers you have to have a vision for your life. This is the time when it's most difficult to get grateful for the blessings and the choices you do have, for who you are and who you can become, for the people who are around you and who do support you. And if you can keep these things in mind as you're going through these difficult times, you can start feeling the energy come back up. You can start feeling engagement with life again. You can start feeling enthusiasm again for tomorrow. You can start feeling again once more what we call the charged life. Hey everybody,
I love Brendan. I mean, he's been doing some good work for so long, and we've had the fortune of having him on AM radio, and he's just got this sense of enthusiasm, but because he's been through quite a lot. And I thought that hearing just some of his thoughts about tonight's topic would have kind of started us off. Meeting life's challenges, and whenever I look at a challenge, and you and I know by now, it's actually an opportunity. As I'd mentioned to you a few months ago with what I started off with was a health crisis and a health challenge, and I said, wait, it's a health opportunity. totally changed my perspective in how I would approach everything. And in the same way with life, it has everything to do with the way you have wired your perception, not only in this life, but in previous lifetimes. What has been your pattern of thinking, your pattern of doing, your pattern of seeing, your pattern of receiving stimulus from the outside world, whether it's through physical beings or the nature or physical possessions, that you use to define your value or lack thereof. So the first and foremost thing I would invite you to do, because this is an important conversation, this isn't a motivational talk, but I think what's really important is for you and I to look at what has been those patterns so far. And if you wish to write it down, please do. Just look at your life very honestly. How have you dealt with life so far? Have you been one of these optimists? And I don't mean one of those who, like, the roof could be falling and you're like, oh, it's okay. Not that kind of an optimism. The roof is falling, you run out of the house and you decide you got to find a way to protect and put everything together, but you're not going to harp on the negativity. So what has been your pattern so far? Being really, really super honest with yourself. How have you been looking at yourself, starting with when you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? As a result of that, how have you been feeling every day when you look at that same person every single day? And the third thing, how have you been taking care of that person? The way you eat, the foods that you put in your system, the way you handle and take care of your physical well-being. Do you exercise? Do you move around a lot? Do you take care of your body that you're not making it too abusive, like aggressively, pushing it too much physically to the limits that it's just forcing it to be out of its natural zone, right? So sometimes we put too much pressure on our bodies and we think it's for the benefit, but it's too much because it can't be sustained. Whatever can't be sustained isn't real. Please write that down. Whatever can't be sustained wasn't real. And one of the things that I've noticed, when we were talking about this yesterday, I don't know if you remember the show I did with leadership. Are you a leader or a follower? And I had invited our friend Dr. Kanu Kogod on the air. And we spoke about how there's so many leaders in the world, but still there's such strife in the world. And why is it that so many people in positions of influence don't stand up more to do the right thing? Celebrities, for example. Imagine them using their platform to be able to, talk about the importance of meditation, to talk about the importance of a life of reflection and sustainability, to give people some inspiration in this way outside of their profession. Look at politicians. Look at individuals with a great deal of economic strength. That my question was, why is it that with all the leaders that are there, they can change the world by just telling folks and inspiring folks, look, this is what we have to do, but they don't. And Dr. Kogod's answer was so profound that just yesterday it even brought more light to me. I mean, it was so enlightening. And as I was preparing food, I was churning on this realization and question as I was talking to Baba during my preparation of food. It says, Baba, why? I mean, there's some people with so much influence and they can just say one thing and people will start to say yes. You tell people to wear a mask, they're going to wear a mask. You tell them not to wear a mask, they're not going to wear a mask. They have so much influence. They can direct people's choices just by their mere actions or just their words. And what Kanewit said is that in many cases of leadership of today, and historically, there tends to be more of a self-serving, a selfish attitude pattern, where it's more about me, it's about I, what I want, what I am getting. And as a result of that, there are very, very few leaders who will think about the benefit of the whole. So when they're focused on just themselves and satisfying their self-needs, they're not thinking about other people. They're thinking about what's in it for them first. And that's why you see many, many people in very influential positions aren't stepping into good programs and projects and using their names and their brands to really bring it to light so that the rest of the world can believe in good causes. I was remembering one day that when we were at the first museum and I was working out some numbers with things, and I said, isn't life interesting? If we got 1,000 people to donate $5 a month, we could manage this building. That was my thinking, right? 1,000 people to just donate annually $5 a month, there'll be no problems. But then I went into another level of thinking. And I thought to myself, wow, what if 1 billion people donated $1 every month? And we allotted the amount of that money to causes and places and people where education, processing, building, creating opportunities for people could take place with that funding. Would there be any poverty in the world today? Wouldn't we have been able to meet life's challenges? But because of this selfishness and this self-serving attitude, it's like we just don't open up. And then I was sharing with Santosh, it's so interesting how we are. And, everybody who knows Sister Jenna and the Washington Brahma Kumaris, they know how unlimited and open we are. We will give our last dime. We will invite whoever to the space. We will put anyone on our platform that we value and trust. Of course, not anyone can come on our platform. But it's never been about the branding or do we lose sight of who we think we are. We know who we are. We know that we're here for self-transformation and to uplift humanity. It doesn't matter, oh, is this not what the Brahma Kumaris would do? Some people be like, what are they doing? That's not Brahma Kumaris. What is Brahma Kumaris? Isn't it actually teaching everyone to have a deep link and connection to God and to themselves? So how could that not be? That is what we're doing. And so we have to keep thinking outside of the box and begin to expand our hearts and our compassion and empathy in order to even begin to help ourselves. To get over the depression, to get over the challenges that are occurring. A challenge only occurs in many occasions when something that we've used up so much says, I'm done with you. Let's say you're in your marriage and you feel like it's a challenge to speak to your spouse now because there's so much negative thoughts and vibrations between the both of you for a year, for 2, for 3 years. And there creates this big elephant in the room that nobody talks about in the marriage, but the tension of the marriage is still there. And then we say, for the sake of the kids, right? Sometimes we'll say for economical reasons we stay together. But inside of the soul, nobody's happy. So we say, oh, my marriage is such a challenge. Oh, my husband is such a challenge. Or you say, oh, my wife, she's such a challenge. And that means I'm not giving what's needed here. Firstly, I'm not giving to me. I'm having a marriage and a relationship with me. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe we are not having a good relationship with ourselves. And that discontentment cannot remain hidden. So what do I do with my discontentment? I express it to the person who's the closest to me, who I think can't go anywhere either. You know, they share the same key, the same lock. And so we take that out on the other person, and it becomes this sort of a natural, consistent story between me and this person, with little commercial moments where, you know, it feels happy and it's great, but then you go right back to the real movie, the drama. And it's just a challenge. But I want to share this with you. Whenever you find yourself in a situation, and I ask you to play back all of the challenges that you feel you're currently going through right now, every single one of them, and honestly look at yourself and say, isn't the soul trying to signal to you, you got to give some more? And the way you have to give it has to come from a more pure place, a more refined place, a place of more deep-rooted innate virtues. Every time you will encounter a challenge, and I can stay specifically in physical relationships, it is a quality that is needed in you. Financial situations, it is a quality that's needed in you. Health-wise, for the body, it is a quality that is needed within you. And the moment you can tap into that emotional quality, that it's a balance of emotion, spiritual, intellectual, all together as one. And they all are getting along, and they all understand their roles, and they all somehow come through your eyes, your mouth, your ears, your hands, the way you make your choices. They will all come through with this extra sort of a additional force or fortitude to say, yes, come, I think you can try more. You've got to give more love here. You can create more in this particular situation and position. And the moment you kind of go that extra mile, it's like the challenge has disappeared. You won't talk about the challenge until another one comes. You're like, oh, this was such a hard time. Oh, I went through this, and I'll tell you this, I wouldn't bet that or bless that or, bet that on my worst enemy. And you think about it and you can feel it again, and then you go, I'm so glad that's over. What you don't remember is that you must have fought your way through it. In whatever way you went to a part of you that you said, I have to believe in something more than where I am. And even if you don't see it, and even if you can't feel it, the law of the universe states these thoughts will not go to waste. And if you keep nurturing these thoughts that are based on a higher dimension of yourself, the best part of you, the bigger story about you, and not the one that's self-serving, not the one that has 1 million likes, not the one that has $1 million, not the one that has the best looking spouse or best looking kids or smartest kids. Not that. But the one who somehow has developed a great amount of wisdom. And in that wisdom, it has accepted there'll be highs and there'll be lows. And in your lows is where you're learning the most. And in your highs, that's where you will celebrate from your lows. And one of the things I love about the Brahma Kumaris in Raj Yoga is that there's a sense of sustaining the gradual development of the consciousness. Every time you practice to go behind your eye and step into your inner world, the soul, and stay there for a while and say, what's it like being you? What has it been like being you? Has it been easy? And as you play back the recording, the way you've dealt with friends, the way friends have dealt with you, the way things have been at your workplace and how your colleagues at work have dealt with you, authority figures, how have they dealt with you, finance, health, your mother, your father, your siblings, the environment, the government, leadership. Play it all back. How has it been for you? You go in. but go behind the eye. Write that down. How has it been? Because in order for you to navigate through life's challenges, you need to have an idea of, well, kind of give me a window into who have I been? How have I embraced life? Lived it so far? Because right now, we might be feeling so much anxiety, uncertainty, confusion, and maybe optimism and awakening perhaps, and courage and intoxication about what the future can hold. But you and I know 4 months now in lockdown, staying at home, looks like it's going to be a good another 2 months, at least if everybody follows directions. But then after that, it's like a pregnancy. It'll have been almost 6 to 8 months of being in the womb of the self. What's coming out of you new, my friends? What are you bringing forward? What if you were to let go of all the old things about you and you really decided to become the best and the newest version of yourself right here and right now? And in order to do that, our meditations do help. You know, my favorite is the what if meditation, where you really take some time to allow the experience, allow it, allow the feeling of being liberated from the challenge of trying to uphold your role as a woman, as a man, as a mother, as a father, as a wife, as a husband. Believe it or not, carrying the weight of those labels can sometimes be the greatest challenge, because they consistently ask you to not just play the role, but they consistently ask you, can you be the role? Can you bring light into my marriage? Can you bring light into being a woman? Because then if you bring light into being a woman, you're not going to be so attached to the gender. Which means if the woman role wants to cook and make dal and chapati, she happily does it. If she needs to go out and fix the car and get under the hood, she happily does it. Because she's not just the woman, but she's spirit, she's light. And the same thing for souls in male bodies. That it's not just enough to go to work, or just to take out the garbage, I know it's a stereotype as they put it, or to work on the cars, or to work in the garage, or to do wood, or to do... But you can cook, and you can clean, and you can iron, and you can be sensitive without any influence on the outside, that it's okay for a soul in a male body to cry, and without shame, and without it being depicted that you're weak. Because as you go through your challenges, to suppress yourself from trying to reveal the real you is a challenge in itself. That is a double whammy on the challenge you're already going through externally, where the world is asking more from you from the inside. And if you're suppressing that, that's just going to hurt more. So let's do some letting go. And let's go into this. You know this is my favorite meditation, because I think it just gives us this experience that we've been longing for a long time, which is freedom. So take a deep breath. Om Shanti. As I sit here in quiet reflection, I'm reminded how my thoughts create my reality. I've accepted that I am what I am because of what I think. So what if for this moment I choose to let go of my various attachments to physical forms that have limited my potential and my capacity? What if I chose to be free from limitations of thinking? So just for a little while, I invite you to take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. And imagine for a moment, what if I no longer had an attachment to my name? How would that feel? What if I let go of the awareness of the gender? What if I let go of the roles that I play, the titles that I own? What if I decided to release thinking of myself as a religion, a language, a nationality? What if I choose to just let go of the name, gender, role, title, religion, language, nationality, and let go of the awareness of the body? How would I feel? Who would think of me in this awareness? And who would I think of? I would think of God. And God's remembrance would fall on me. And I, the living soul, would be completely free. Let me just sit in this moment for a little longer. And just be free. Now gently bring back the awareness of your gender, language, nationality, title, role, name, religion, whatever. Bring it back to your awareness and see if you can bring the experience of freedom and peace as you go out into the world and play your various parts. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Give a big shout out to Shannon and David Croft for laying down the track on that meditation. Every time I hear that meditation, it reminds me of myself. Especially after forgetting the self way too often, every day, there are windows of just forgetfulness. And in your forgetting, you get into this habit or this pattern of living a life that is challenged and thinking that it's normal. So when we have those moments when life is, a celebration, celebrate it. I was joking the other day. We used to take Sister Gita to her place in Sunrise, Florida. She used to have this place right in front of the Trump Plaza. And I love her heart. She would just say, oh, I'm going to send all these loving vibrations to this soul. And then, I would talk to her now. She's like, who is this person? I don't know who this person is. And I bet if I took her to that apartment building right now, she'll ask, who is this person? And I'll tell her who it is. She goes, oh, so let's keep sending this soul good wishes and pure vibrations. That's just where we have to be. And it's not always easy to be in that sort of a place of innocence, But anyway, where I was going with the story was that I would take her there, and she would, be in a pattern that wouldn't be the celebration of the newness. When I would go, it's like the next morning I'm up at 5, 6 o'clock, and I'm at the beach. I'm sitting there having meditation, talking to myself. I look back, everybody else is resting. I'm like, I'm gone. I mean, I don't want to be challenged by my own being, where my old self is like holding me back. Remember when we were kids and you're trying to pull away from someone and they're like, no, 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 and they're holding your tail and you're like trying to push forward? I feel like we go through that internally sometimes. But there's a part of us that is like, no, 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 just release me, let me go. That we want to shine and feel the essence of freedom and feel what it's like to wake up and look through these same two eyes from a different perspective, from something new, from some new experience that you garnered because of your connection of soul with God, the Supreme Soul. And that every time you establish this experience because of this union, you are not that same person. If you're having an intimate, deep, experiential relationship with God, is it possible to be small in your thinking? And it's something I'm asking, like, is it even possible for me to believe that something outside of me is bigger than me? What's happening in the United States of America, is it bigger than me when I'm the one that has full control over how I want to feel? I don't like it. I don't like to see the hate, the vitriolity, and all of the negativity with people. I don't want to see that. But I do. It's out there. You put it on social media, you look on your Twitter feed, you turn on the news. When you get a chance, you look at that and you're like, such a challenge to not have an environment that sustains you. And remember what I said earlier, if it's real, it will be sustainable. If it's artificial, you can't sustain it. And all of this anger and this hate and this darkness and this pain can't be sustained. It can't be. And that's why I'm inviting you all tonight. Whatever it is that you are tested by, first check what your pattern has been over time. Are you one of those individuals that have really focused more on the negative? Or are you one of those individuals who live in the world of miracles? And ever so often you encounter a bump in the road and it just goes, oh wait, what's that? Because you need to be awakened. You need to be kind of surprised to sort of see things from a different perspective, because you can be moving along very well. You could be following all the universal laws, you could be genuine, you could be honest, you could be very transparent, very caring, all of these things, and you still encounter a bump in the road. Why? Because there's more. There's more. If you ever get a chance, in your quiet moments, or in your internal moments of reflection, whether you're walking from one room to another, or just lying in your bed and thinking, or sitting in a chair, and you get to this point where it's just this kind of an experience of, I've lost my train of thought, but it's Sister Gita and Happy over there, and I just lost the train of thought. Give me 1 second. Let me try to get where I was. It's gone. But I think what I was trying to really say is, when you get to that point inside of yourself where you are able to really listen to who you are, and try to sift out the real you, the part of you that really is in alignment with what is the natural laws of the universe. You're not doing anyone a favor to be kind. You're not doing anyone a favor to be loving. That's who you're supposed to be. And when we're not kind and we're not loving, we're testing ourselves, and we're maybe trying to see how much more kind and loving can you become. So the challenge is really there to move us to that place. How much more loving and kind can I become? So now I'm remembering what I was going to say. We have no idea of the incredible amount of power that the human soul possesses. And we must begin to nurture those thoughts that I told you that are sustainable, which are thoughts connected to your true sense of identity and self, which is all about the soul and the qualities of the soul. Eventually that vibration cannot be hidden. It will breathe through your gender, your role, your religion, your title, your language, your nationality. The fragrance of your spirit will breathe through all of that. There's nothing worse than when you hear stereotypes and people say, oh, so-and-so, they're always like that. And they pick up the negative of a nation, a culture, a language. That's because we're still being possessed by our challenges and we're not answering the call. There's still a limit to our capacity and our potential. So when you hear all these things with people telling you, fire up, get your game on, do this, you know what? Find your rhythm, find your pace, but serve it every day. Serve that part of you every day, so that for the long haul, however long we've got left, you can sustain it. I say this with conviction, with clarity, and with empathy and love. Find that part of you that you can sustain, and trust that eventually it'll be your turning point. So as we come to a close, you know my Om Shanti song is the one I'd like to play for our closing tonight, because I think tonight was very meaningful and it had some, deep feelings towards it, no? And I'll check on the YouTube to see if there were any comments today. But I want to thank Julio for his comments tonight. And Sanjana, welcome. Glad to have you. To let go and accept loss of potential life partnership because of external situations is difficult, especially when we think that that was the one and we feel we never find a similar kind of person. I can tell you this, Sanjana, they were the one at that time for you. but there's another one that will be for the new you, for you. So I don't know how old you are, but as you grow in life, you'll realize there is someone else for you. And that soul was there for you at the time that you needed it. And the quicker you let go, the quicker you'll realize that. So, Mercedes, very nice to have you. Great. I'm glad that you enjoyed today's conversation. Muktaben, Om Shanti. I'm glad that this is a good topic. Yes, it's good to watch it again and again to improve yourself in your daily patterns. Very good, Mukta. Glad that you could join us. And Rita, glad to have you. Kalpana, welcome. Nagastri, Sabina, Praveen, nice to have you. Manhar, Ramala, Samantha, Om Shanti, good to have you again. Aditi, Erica, Jennifer, Scotland, Tina and Bryn and Bharti, Asmita, Kailash, Indu, Nikul, Kumar, Joshi, so nice to have you all. Just to let you know, I called Janvi today, everyone, and she's really healing and doing better. She has another treatment next week, she said, but she's doing well, and Bill is with her and taking care of her too, so she's really a strong little trooper, and so we're very glad to hear that her health is back up and running. And thanks to all of you for all of your well wishes for my health opportunity. And I'm doing well, and I'll keep you all updated, and it's what it is, what to do. Life has its challenges. But since I have my health opportunity, and I thought I always was eating well, now I'm eating even better. You know, I told you, like, I'm doing quinoa. Oh, it's such boring food. But anyway, you know, just these little things. And situations will come to help you. They will come to help you. So I ask you to look at that it's here to help you. And you got to find where that salvation's gift is for you. Okay? So hope you've enjoyed meeting life's challenges today on your spiritual vaccine hour. It was a pleasure to be with all of you again. I missed you all last night. But just know that, you know, situations are such, but we still showed up because I was still commenting. I was still there with all of you. So thank you again for all of your love and kindness and care. And please check your pattern. There's something that needs shifting, an old way of thinking and being. Please go into that dimension and see to what extent you can make some little adjustment there. And try to see what kind of a quality or energy is really needed to get you up, you know, to make you start to believe more in how much power the soul has, and that it is immortal, eternal, imperishable, and that you are Baba's child. And if you're Baba's child, you must have his qualities and his powers. So can any challenge be more powerful than you? Absolutely not. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Om Shanti.